Good morning, everyone on YouTube. Okay, this is the last of my Godzilla DVD discussion, and kind of doing synopsis of the storylines on each movie. Again, here we're gonna go and talk about Godzilla 98, which I have nicknamed Zilla 98. Now, this movie by itself was good, but it should not have been called Godzilla, because this in no way, shape, or form resembles Godzilla. The way that Roland Emmerich? Let's see here. Yeah, Roland Emmerich was the one that produced this and directed it, I believe. Anyway, he was quoted saying that his Godzilla would not be based for the fans, and he was correct. This Godzilla was not the Godzilla that I thought it was going to be when I first saw it. Now, it took me years and years to finally decide to add this to my collection, and I'm glad I did. It's good for a standalone movie, but if you really want to get into the Godzilla franchise, this is kind of the bridge gap. But what Roland Emmerich did is he basically said, well, this Godzilla is a hermaphrodite, and this creature was completely CGI. He was more feral than he was a two-legged walking creature. To me, this guy resembled more of a dinosaur slash lizard than an actual dinosaur. He didn't really breathe flame. He did breathe out like an invisible gas that caught flame. But as to really, breathing fire, no, he didn't have a nuclear breath. His horns didn't light up like they would have if he was a nuclear beast. Okay. There was a lot of things wrong with this movie, but there was a lot of things good about it too. I still watch it every now and then because it is a good movie. The acting was pretty good, but like I said, the way that they did their storyline was kind of terrible. If you get this movie, it's good as a standalone, and it can be part of your Godzilla collection. But I prefer to call it a standalone, basically. Now, once Japan saw Godzilla 98, they were not very pleased about it, and so they immediately came out with Godzilla 2000. They originally were not going to make any more Godzilla movies, and so they came out with this. And I know that my family went and saw this, and we enjoyed it. There are some funny scenes in here. The Godzilla suit was very well done. Orga was very well done. But he only shows up in the last half of the movie. Godzilla basically gets shot at, and the military try to stop him. And the whole idea here is Godzilla's kind of misunderstood and should be studied, and then they find out he can regenerate his health, which is interesting. Then we have Godzilla versus Megaguirus. And the suit in here is a little bit different. He's got more of an alligator mouth. Megaguirus I thought was really well done, but he kind of reminds me of Batra because he's got the head of Batra here. And his wings are a little bit different. They're not like Batra's, but the face really does remind me of Batra. So anyway, Megaguirus is actually the queen of the Meganulons. And eventually they become, like I said, they become the Meganula, which is um, the giant dragonflies. And the queen tries to steal Godzilla's energy. And they tell people, well, the Meganula queen is very aggressive and stuff. And they decide that how they're going to get rid of Godzilla is by creating a black hole. And it's going to suck Godzilla in and, kind of destroy him. Well, they do eventually get rid of Godzilla. But then they go back. Right after that, there's the next scene, and Lady comes in talking to the guy who helped them get rid of Godzilla and said, "There's been a new monster report sighting. Let's go check it out." Because they thought maybe it might be Godzilla. Godzilla might have escaped the black hole. But as far as that goes, we really don't know. Okay, and then this here is my 3-pack with the updated menu for Godzilla and Mothra and King Ghidorah. And we have Giant Monsters All Out Attack, which has Ghost Godzilla, which is a very interesting concept and kind of gives off a nod to 54. And we have Mothra as the guardian monster, and we have King Ghidorah playing a good guy, which is way different than his normal role. The only time he's ever played a good guy. And we have Baragon in this one. And I'm trying to think if we have anyone else. Because I know Mothra's in there. I think Baragon, Mothra, and King Ghidorah were the only 3 that they used against him. So anyway, the Godzilla suit, King Ghidorah was well done, Mothra was well done, Baragon was well done. Mothra, I believe, was in parts CGI. I kind of have to almost believe King Ghidorah was too. But Baragon, I believe, wasn't. I believe Baragon was a suit. And these were all good. Now, in some of the movies, you can actually tell when they're flying the creature. In the older ones, like Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, you can actually see the strings on Megaguirus. Then we have the upgraded Mecha Godzilla. Again, like I said, it would have been better if they had stuck with the original storyline that he was created by the people of the black hole. The updated version is actually called Kiryu. And they decide they're going to use the bones of the old Godzilla to build the basis for the new Mecha G. So they go ahead and do that, use a DNA-based computer. Well, Godzilla's almost gets killed by Kiryu, and he unleashes a roar that, because Kiryu is DNA-based computer, it flashes back to a memory, and Kiryu just goes berserk, like it's acting like it's the Godzilla monster when it's not. Thankfully, it runs out of power and it stares out at the sea. And Godzilla eventually, they do defeat him. And they salvage Kiryu. They bring Kiryu back and they decommission Kiryu because of Kiryu's tendency to go wild. Then Mothra's people make an appearance, the fairies make an appearance, and they tell him, look, retire Kiryu, the monster, the Mecha G, wants to just rest. It wants to rest in peace. And they decide, because Godzilla's come back and terrorizes Tokyo again, that they have to bring Kiryu out of retirement. So in one final battle, Kiryu finally takes Godzilla to rest in the ocean, away from Japan. And then we come to the final movie in the Millennium series called Final Wars. And we have Kaiser King Ghidorah, we have Mothra makes appearance, and Gigan finally returns, only to have his head blown off. But, again, they bring back the Xiliens from Planet X. Of course, they don't say they're from Planet X. But they do come back, and they decide that they want to take over the planet and use the humans for food, as a food source. And they do that by taking control of all the monsters, I guess, on Monster Island. They take control of Anguirus, Ibra, Gigan, Zilla, Hedorah, the Kamakuras, King Caesar, Kimanga, Manda. Manila isn't controlled. Monster X and Monster X Zero is controlled by the Xiliens. Rodan was controlled by them, and so was Zilla. Mothra and Manila and Godzilla themselves were not controlled by the aliens. So they were able to defeat, most of them. Well, except for Mothra, because she eventually got killed by Gigan. But, this was a really good movie to watch. The Godzilla suit was impressive. Gigan, upgraded, was impressive. Mothra was good. And I believe Mothra was CGI in this one, but I could be wrong. The whole thing, even King Ghidorah was good. And then, of course, we have Godzilla 2014 by Gareth Edwards. Now, there's a lot of people that hated this movie because Godzilla wasn't in it enough. And I want to point out that anytime you have somebody in a suit, they aren't going to be on the screen the whole time. That's why in some of the earlier Godzilla movies, it took a long time for Godzilla to appear on screen, because it was a suit. Gareth Edwards wanted the CGI company that created Godzilla to base it off of a guy being in a suit. So, of course, he wouldn't have been on screen the whole time. And they did a very reminiscent job of him swimming, just like Godzilla in a suit would have done if he'd come from an island or something like that. The CGI Godzilla, I thought, was very well done. The spines were impressive. His light display was impressive. He didn't, of course, have an unlimited nuclear firepower supply, but he was tough. He was kind of hard to see in some of the shots because of all the smoke and stuff, but the Mutos were even well designed, and I thought they were creepy looking. So I cannot wait for the second movie to come out, and rumors, from what we've heard, rumors are that it's supposed to be Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah, so it'll be interesting to note how that's going to play. The other thing that's interesting is that in 2016 there will be a new movie from Toho, their version of Godzilla, the original, and that'll be very interesting to see if that's either CGI or a guy in a suit. I'm hoping it's Suitmation because I really love the original Godzilla and his suits. So let's hope that it's either and or. So anyway, seems like it's going to be a very promising year, so it should be very interesting.